Today I am going to be de-influencing you about things that you shouldn't be putting on your registry that a lot of people put on their registry. I have a list of, pardon me, I'm gonna move my list over here. 9 things, maybe I'll think of a 10th thing while we're chatting, and I'm gonna get ready during it. So I hope that you guys enjoy this type of video. Let me know if you do down below, and subscribe before we get started. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. A lot of these are controversial. I'm warning you, and you've probably heard great things about a lot of them, but I'm gonna give you reasonings to why I hate them and why you shouldn't put them on your registry. Number 1, I'm gonna put pictures, I'm sorry, on this side. My monitor is backwards, so this side. The Angel Care bathtub. Hear me out before you click off my video. Whether you're using this in your kitchen sink, which you have to have a pretty big like farm sink for that to work, or if you're using it in your bathtub, it is so unrealistic. Like I said, even in your sink, you have to fill your entire sink up, or to whatever level you want it, you know, versus like a cheap plastic bathtub like one that I'm putting here. Or we got the Lalo, and again, it's kind of like similar to the cheap plastic one where, you know, you just have to put the water in that, you know, basin area, I guess is what you could call it. I get it's not as bad with a sink because you're not having to fill it as much as a bathtub, but if you're using this in your bathtub, why not just get a smaller tub and use less water? Like, I don't understand why this is pushed so much on people's registries, on TikTok videos of like, here, create your registry. This you need, is absolutely you need. It's the most amazing thing ever. Why? Like, why is it? Because they say you can flip it upside down and turn it into like a toddler seat. It's not really technically for that, but you could. And then you're using it in your bathtub, right? And filling up the entire bathtub. Like, bathtubs are not small. And if you pay for water, you don't want to be doing that. So especially if you pay for water, take that off your registry, or don't even put it on there. Put on one that you physically fill the bath itself, okay? Secondly, even if you don't pay for water, I live where a spring-fed well, and there are times where we don't have a lot of rain and our well gets pretty low, and it would be really, really bad of me to fill an entire tub when I don't need to. Obviously, when the child gets bigger and you're having them take regular baths in the bathtub, that's one thing, but you're doing this when you don't need to, you know, like you're using this little bath for a little baby. Why not just get a bath that you can just put the water in? That's the end of the spiel on that one. I'm sorry it took so long. Again, I'm gonna remind you, all of these are controversial. My next one is literally anything from Grwm. And it's not just Grwm as a brand, it's not just them. There's many other brands that I'm not huge fans of, but Grwm is so highly like, not sought after, but it's like highly recommended. It's like one of the most common baby brands, I think. However, I hate Grwm. Number 1 reason, my sister has a Grwm, well, had, because she just switched to a convertible car seat, but she was using a infant seat and the matching stroller. Number 1, that stroller did not come with a toddler seat. I don't think you can even buy one for it. So it was literally like the stroller base that you just hook the car seat to, and then you're done with it. Like, you used it for maybe 8 months if your baby didn't get super heavy. I don't know how long a lot of you are keeping your baby in infant seats. He was in an infant seat till about 8 months, and he's 9 months now, and he is so heavy. He probably could have switched at like 6 months. So I don't know how long most people are keeping their babies in their infant seats, but that stroller, the actual handle on it was foam, I believe made of latex, because maybe it's just me, maybe I have like this weird gene, but when I'm blowing up balloons, obviously latex balloons, for a party, my hands smell like latex for days. I can scrub them with whatever soap, Dawn dish soap, regular hand soap, no matter what I do, hand sanitizer, anything, that smell does not leave my hands. And that stroller did the same exact thing. I was pushing that stroller, and later that night I was like, why do my hands smell like latex? Handlebar. It made my hands smell for days, no matter how many times I washed them with like, no matter how hot the water, like I did the hottest water I could handle, and it still made my hands stink. So that's the number one reason, but also because I didn't feel that the car seat was that like nice of quality, especially for how expensive it was. My mom had bought a base for her car for said car seat, and it was really expensive. I think she said it was like close to $200. I could be off on that, but I remember her saying it was expensive. I don't know the exact price. She said it was expensive just for the base. Just for the base alone, that's a lot of money, even if it's a little less than that. Let's say my car seat, I think, let me look it up while I have you on here, $249. So no base because it's baseless, and we can switch from car to car, including my mom's car. She doesn't have to buy a base. And it's so much better quality. Like the physical fabric is better quality. This fabric in the Grwm one is like, I don't know, it reminds me of like just cheap fabric you can get from Shein. I don't know, it did not feel nice. This is all to be taken with a grain of salt, because I'm not saying that every single Grwm product is bad. I actually wrote on my thing with an exception, because my sister also has, she's a big fan of Grwm, clearly. She has the swing from them. I think it's the Smart Sense. I don't hate that, but personally, just because I have such a hatred towards their products, I would not be getting it. I did not register for it. I don't want it. But that one's not terrible. It is huge for what it does. It's like massive, and I know that I'd like to mention, you know how much of a fan I am of the car seat and the stroller that I got, which are from Joy, which is the top company, sister company, is Nuna. Nuna makes Joy. They're also sister companies with Grwm. However, I feel like these two are very comparable in price. Obviously, Nuna's like way out there. Joy might be a little bit more, but like with a child product, I think, especially if it's your first child. So if you're a first-time mom and you're looking for recommendations, I think it's important to add things to your registry, not that are like $1,000. We're not saying that. My car seat was $250, okay? That's a pretty standard price. There are cheaper and they're more expensive, especially if you have to buy separate bases. You're going to be racking that up real quick, okay? But I wanted something that was going to last and I could use for multiple children. If, you know how they say you have to get rid of your car seat if you get in a car accident, pending I don't get in a car accident with it, I can reuse that infant seat for my next child as long as I have it within, I think it's 10 years or 8 years, the like length of time you can keep car seat. And I'm sure you could do that with Grwm ones and like just wash the fabric and everything like that. But they're not great quality. It's like cheap plastic. I'm sure they have some that are a little bit higher end from Grwm. But hers specifically, I did not like, okay? And she bought this like a little over a year ago. Maybe around a year ago. He was born in June. Okay. Next one is pretty broad. It's not a specific product, I guess. Not really. You can get them from all sorts of brands. You've heard me say this in a million videos. I don't have a million videos, but in all my, like not all my videos, a lot of my videos I've mentioned how much I hate baby socks. I cannot get over, first of all, how many baby socks you get at your baby shower that you obviously didn't register for. I mean, some people do. A lot of people register for baby socks because they don't know. I know from my many years of experience with babies. Even if I didn't have many years of experience with babies, let's just go with the last year of me watching my nephew. It has made me hate baby socks 10 times more. He will come here if he's not in like a sleeper type thing. He's wearing an outfit and he has baby socks on, okay? And they fall off within minutes of him being here. At least one he's kicked off. And sometimes he doesn't even kick them off. They just kind of like slide. So I hate them. I really freaking hate them. And you're like, well, then what do you put on your baby? Because you know the generation, the like, I guess of my parents' age and above, especially above, they'll be like, oh, you poor thing, you don't have socks on, even in blistering sun, 90-degree weather, okay? What are the alternatives? In the winter and fall and chilly spring, hear me out. Get your baby some booties, okay? Booties sound like, oh, that's old. They have really cute ones, okay? I'll show you a picture. They have really cute booties out these days, and I freaking love them, and they stay on. They stay on. You can tighten that Velcro, obviously not to where you're cutting off their circulation, but to the point where it's not going to slip off their heel, okay? And in the summer, when it's, like I said, blistering heat, first of all, if you're home and you're on your porch, don't put socks on your kid. You really don't need to. First of all, it's really, they have to regulate their body temp. They have to learn how to do that, okay? And they will at a certain point, but putting a hat on them when it's hot out, putting socks on them when it's hot out, it doesn't let them help regulate their body temp, okay? So if you're out and there's no one there to judge you, you don't need to put socks on your kid when it's 90 degrees out, okay? Here to tell you that. If there are people there, like I'm going to my niece's softball game and it's pretty friggin' warm out and I'm bringing my baby, what do we put on her feet so people don't judge in this 90-degree weather? Because I don't want to have her there with no socks on and have people give me shit for it, okay? Get some cute baby sandals. Usually, if it's not a sandal that's like completely open, if it's like a closed toe one, they have like little ventilation holes that are very breathable. With a boy, obviously that was for a girl. With a boy, again, I feel like there's boy sandals, okay, like the double strap ones, or you could get like boat shoes kind of things with little ventilations in those as well. Baby socks suck, especially in the summer. Just, You could put some on your registry. Obviously, you might want them if you're putting a shoe on your baby. I don't really think that shoes until walking are super necessary. Aside from, like I said, the sandals when they're little and you don't want them to be barefoot and have people say things. But you will want socks if you're putting actual shoes on your child. If you really want to register for them, you could get toddler sizes for when they start walking. There you go. But put some booties on your friggin' registry and thank me later. Next, these are very aesthetic. People love these. I mentioned this in my last video, actually, how much I don't like baby bandana bibs, the like pointed ones. They don't lay flat. I don't know what size these children have to be for them to lay flat. I don't understand. I don't get it. But every time I put one on my nephew, I've seen them on many other kids, they don't lay flat. They like bunch up and they like push out here, I guess, like the point's laying down. This whole part is kind of up. Alternative being traditional baby bibs that are like the rounded shape. I'll put some here. I think I had one in my haul, in my vlog 2 videos ago that I really like. But that's a really simple one. If you like them for the looks, that's great, but I don't think that they're great for catching drool and spit up and food and everything like that. I really highly recommend getting a traditional shaped baby bib that lays flat. Next is the Diaper Genie or the Munchkin Diaper Pail or any that are just like that, okay? I know a lot of people that just put trash cans in their bedroom and you just change it frequently. I personally really like the Ubby. Is that what it's called? I hope that I'm correct. Because you don't have to get special bags for that one. You can just put trash bags in it. And like the 13-gallon typical like small trash can bag size, like that's perfect. And that's what we already buy for our kitchen. So we're not going to have to buy like separate inserts. And I've heard that the Munchkin one stinks. I've heard that the Diaper Genie one stinks. I've heard that the Ubby one stinks. Okay, they all freaking stink. They all have shit in them, okay? But don't, like, if you want a diaper pail, I would recommend the Ubby because you don't have to buy separate bags for it. It's one less thing to be, like, on your shopping list. I'm gonna leave the most controversial for last. High chairs with wide bases, specifically like the Maxi Cozy MOA. That is just an example one, but there are many, many more. Someone just was like talking about one on TikTok about how much they loved it, and I was looking and I'm like, how are people supposed to fit these in their houses? I live in, I don't know, I think it's kind of small, a smaller home, but it's like, I would think of like someone with like a trailer, that you live in a single wide trailer. They're not fitting something with that wide of a base in their kitchen, because you probably are not kitchen, dining room. In that type of situation, you have your kitchen and you probably just have a little kitchen table in there. You don't have room for a dining room in a single wide trailer, okay? And something with that large of a footprint is not gonna fit in most people's houses. If you have a massive house, maybe. But even then, do you really wanna be tripping over it? My sister lives in a fairly decent sized farmhouse, and she had like a traditional looking high chair, I guess the one that like raises and lowers, and it's got like the very cushiony backrest. She actually ended up hating it, so Deinfluencing that from that as well. She had the Maxi Cozy one, not the Moa, but it's the like full size one. And they were tripping over all the time. And that base is still smaller than the Maxi Cozy Moa. There's many other ones. I'm just gonna rattle some off. The Lalo. I love Lalo as a brand. Their bathtub, many other things, but the footprint is so wide. I'm currently personally registered for the Mockingbird high chair, because the footprint it looks so much smaller. So I'll show you that here. You can kind of see it's not like super wide compared to the other ones. The UPPAbaby Zero looks like kind of an in-between the footprint of the ones I've listed and then the Mockingbird. I feel like it's somewhat narrow. I love the look of the Kiko Zest LE, but again, super large footprint. And I love this one. I really wish it wasn't that wide because it's only $99. The Mockingbird is $230. So another good one that is literally called Slim, Every Step Slim from Graco. I don't like Graco, but if you like Graco, there you go. Isn't very wide of a footprint. However, it's $200, so for $30 more, I can get the Mockingbird. Skip Hop. I love the Skip Hop brand. Very wide. Like, why are they so wide? Who's fitting these things in their house? Literally. I don't understand. Even if you're fitting it, you're tripping over it. I can almost guarantee it. So, end of that rant. The last two are very controversial. I'm saving the one that's most controversial for last, okay? Okay. Dr. Brown's bottles. I cannot get over how many people have these on their registries, or not even on, like, have them on their registries, have them like in recommendation videos. Number one, the amount of parts. Okay. Some people don't mind it. They're like, oh, it helps maybe with colic. There are bottles with far less parts that will prevent colic or help aid against it. I'm gonna go specifically to Avent for this one, okay? Avent has one that's also an anti-colic bottle. I think it might have one less piece than the Dr. Brown's ones. But hear me out. The regular Avent, the nipple is not recommended by lactation consultants. You can replace the nipple. But I mean, hear me out. If you're not breastfeeding, I don't feel that the nipple is as important, because if you're breastfeeding and you're bottle feeding like here and there, like putting breast milk in the bottle and having them drink out of the bottle, you want something that's going to mimic the breast as well as you can. If you're not breastfeeding, obviously the tongue and, mouth development is just as important, but if they're latching well to a bottle, let them have the bottle, Specifically the Avent, I'm going to try and put a picture of a video I saw where it literally catches all the bubbles and your child gets none of the bubbles, none of the air. That's a regular standard bottle. It's not an anti-colic bottle. It's a regular bottle. They have them in glass. We're going to go back to that. They have them in glass. They also have them in plastic. I know the glass one I think is the one in the video, so maybe the glass does better than the plastic. I don't really know. I just feel that there's a lot of other options you could choose for a bottle, and I think it's most important, okay, do your research, look at other bottles. Don't just add the Dr. Brown's to your list. That's my biggest issue, is this one girl was like, I've seen a lot of people like the Dr. Brown's bottles, so I put Dr. Brown bottles on my list, and that's it. That's all they did. Okay, there are other bottles out there than just a Dr. Brown's, and you're gonna really wish if another bottle would have worked for your baby and it didn't have that many parts. Wouldn't you rather that? I don't know. I would. If you like the narrow, like style one and you also want glass, I know Evenflo makes one that is very similar nipple shape to the Dr. Brown's. It's also glass and it doesn't have paint on the outside. When I said I was going to come back to it, the paint on the Dr. Brown's bottles has tested positive for lead. It's very, very, very low amounts of lead, but in my brain, I'm like, do you really want to take a risk, even if it's small? Because once your child is holding that themselves, they're holding their bottle and then they're done with it and they're putting their hands in their mouths. It's like very common. They always put their hands in their mouths, or they're touching a teether and then putting that in their mouths right after, you know? I would be a little bit hesitant with the glass ones from Dr. Brown's. There's a million other brands that have also tested positive for lead in their glass baby bottles. I don't know why. Like, why in a child's product are you not taking the extra precaution to use paint that doesn't have lead in them? My last one, my most controversial one, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna go get dressed, I'm gonna turn my curling iron on, touch up my hair, put some dry shampoo in it. We'll go over that while I'm doing my hair. All right, this last one. Before I get into it, I'm gonna go back and touch on the Graco situation really quick. When I mentioned if you're having multiples and this is your first child, take a very, very long time looking at reviews. If you have the time, I don't know. There's days where we're really slow at work and I'm able to research a lot of things. I'm doing my research, you know? Do it with your husband too. If he's very hands-on and interested in all of this stuff. I shouldn't say husband. Do it with your partner. He might be wanting to have some 2 cents in it, I guess. There are a lot of brands I don't really vibe with, just based off of, not necessarily price point, but just knowing that they're not a really great choice because they probably won't last. Ingenuity. There might be some great products from them, but just based off of like how cheap some of their products are, I'm like, is it really going to last for multiple children? You know, even some products I've seen people say like, this didn't even last me a month with my child. Okay. Rough. Because that's one child. And if you're having multiples, like you want to have 1 or 2 more kids, it needs to be something that's going to last you so you don't have to spend money on another product right away. I'm not saying get the top of the line. I'm not saying go get Nuna for everything. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But I'm saying do your research. Find products that have good reviews, that have, you know, hopefully longevity. And not even like, just look on websites because some people pay for reviews. Go on TikTok and see if it's a sponsored ad or review. If it's not and someone's being genuinely like ranting and raving about a product, like a baby swing, there's your answer. You can probably trust that. My point of that was that you shouldn't just be putting the cheapest thing possible on your registry. I did not put the most expensive thing possible on my registry. For example, I'm going to go with bassinets, for example. I originally wanted the Maxi Cozy bassinet because I loved the storage option at the bottom, but it was pretty expensive, okay? It's pretty expensive. And I felt that there was probably a more affordable option that would work just as well for me. I went with a Kiko one. Reason being is it looks like, first of all, Kiko is a pretty decent brand, and they're not wicked expensive. That specific bassinet, I love how not even travel friendly it is, because it is travel friendly and that's great, but mainly for putting it away and waiting, like, let's say once my daughter is grown out of it and she's in her crib, okay, I'm going to need to put that away for our next child. I don't want it taking up a bunch of room. This thing looks like it's very space saving when it's taken apart and like disassembled and everything. And it has a carrying bag, so it looks like it's easy to also disassemble very quickly. So like, you know, for traveling, essentially, stuff like that. But like I said, I didn't put the most expensive thing on my registry. Even the Maxi Cozy one was like $230 maybe, $269, $270. The Kiko one, $150. So over $100 less. Also the Maxi Cozy one was huge. And like I said, I don't live in a huge house, so finding space for that is not super easy. That is another reason that I went with a different option, because I have what I feel is like the perfect space for a bassinet, but the Maxi Cozy one would not have fit. I haven't even gotten to my point of that. My point was there are much more expensive options when it comes to bassinets, when it comes to any baby item, okay? The Snoo in particular, the Mamaroo is $500. It's $449. That's like insane. The Halo Bassinet Swivel Sleeper, $300. That's still more expensive than the Maxi Cozy. The Snoo is I'm gonna round up $5. $1,700. $1,700 for a bassinet you're gonna have to stop using once your child is able to pull themselves up and stand, which like could be around 9 months. $1,700. So for anyone that thinks like, oh, you're putting like wicked expensive things on, I'm not. For something, like I'm thinking longevity wise, like I want it to last a long time, but also I'm not putting something, no one would have bought that from my family anyways. You got to be like a New York socialite or something to have people buying you a $1,700. And there's more expensive than that. I'd love to note that there's probably more expensive than that out there. My moral of that story was I'm not telling you to put the most expensive items on your registry. My last one, before I keep saying before I go into it, this actually goes along with this subject. And it kind of goes along with really anything I already mentioned for the most part. I would still say not the bathtub, but whatever. Different things are going to work for different babies, okay? Different things are going to work for different babies. So you might hear someone say, oh my gosh, my baby loved that. For example, my best friend, I think both of her babies were not crazy about swings, okay? My nephew and my niece loved swings. Got a lot of use out of our swings, okay? Anyways, every baby's different. Different products work for different babies. I think it's important to know that, to try different things out when you can. And by that, I don't mean like get 3 different swings. I'm saying diapers specifically. I am just going to mention one brand that I think is extremely overhyped. And I don't think that you should be putting it just that specific brand on your registry because you know, oh, well, like everyone else uses it. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that. That would be Pampers. That would be Pampers hardcore. I know so many people that use Pampers just because they're like, it's the best, it's what everyone else uses. Okay, if you haven't tried other brands, and I mean more than like 2 or 3, okay, like if you put on your registry or you put that you want to try out different brands, whatever, or you do like the diaper box, I think there's a box where like you can try out different brands. Or like from all the sample boxes that I got to try, I will get to try a bunch of different brands just from those boxes alone. I have the Up and Up ones, Millie Moon, Healthy Baby ones. The ones I'm really excited about that I literally bought a whole entire pack of because I was like, oh, I really think I'm gonna like these. They're from Target as well. No idea what the brand is. I also got samples from them as well. Kudos, that's the one. If you are not trying out multiple brands and you're like, well, Pampers is just what works for us. My number one reasoning for saying that I don't like Pampers is they use perfumes and lotions that, whether it looks like it or not, could be irritating your child's skin, okay? Even if it's not irritating your child's skin. Even if it's not. Especially if you have a girl. Especially if you struggled to get pregnant. Those fragrances and those perfumes and those lotions being on your precious brand new baby's skin can cause hormone issues later in life. You're literally putting it on her genitals. So be mindful. I understand you're like, well, it's the most inexpensive and it's what we can afford. And it's not the most inexpensive, actually. I know Millie Moon just went up in price, but like literally a month ago, Millie Moon was cheaper than Pampers. Millie Moon was cheaper than Pampers. They are ECF. They're not TCF. Obviously, TCF is the best, but ECF is better than Pampers, okay? ECF is elemental chlorine free, and I believe TCF is truly chlorine free. Elemental means that it's used in processing, usually for the pulp in the diaper, but the actual lining would not have used chlorine for it, so it's not physically touching your baby's skin. Still, like I said, it's better than Pampers. Would you let your child swim in a swim diaper in a chlorine pool and then leave that diaper on for the rest of the day? No. If you don't think that it's any different, I hate to break it to you, it's not really, especially considering your child's pee is getting that chlorine wet. So they're literally sitting in chlorine. I get it. There are moms that do not care this much about these kind of things. However, I feel like if you're searching for registry recommendations and you're searching for what you shouldn't put on your registry, you probably care. And that's great. That is great. Some moms don't care, and that's okay. That is okay. I just personally, as a girl mom, will not be using stuff that has fragrances, perfumes, and I will be trying to limit as much chlorine as possible. So if you are currently a mom and you're using Pampers and you're like, ooh, I didn't realize how bad they were, check those brands out, compare pricing. Obviously, if there's some that are way out of your budget, I understand, but try out Millie Moon. I mean, ECF is better than nothing. With that being said, I am done getting ready. I am done de-influencing you. Hopefully my next video I'm planning to have up is everything that I put on my baby registry and things that I will be influencing you to put on yours. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know your controversial baby de-influencing down below, something that you hate that a lot of people love. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching.